Welcome back to Esotericom. I am Jod. It is February 2nd. It just turned a little bit past midnight, and hopefully my sound is coming through. I hope you've been doing well. Yeah, so if I sound a little bit sick, I apologize. I'm getting over probably the flu, but I'm feeling much better. And tonight we are going to talk about a book that I have been using for about 6 years. Um, it was published just about 6 years ago, and it is The Magick of Angels and Demons by Henry Archer, Practical Rituals for the Union of Power. If you suggested this book or made a comment about it, thank you. I really appreciate it. I've had this book for a while. I've used it, had really good success with it, and we're going to talk a little bit about it tonight. Before I get started, I was driving home. We got home from some errands. Went to the grocery store, ran a couple errands, and I pulled the car in. And I look up, and there's these two UAPs that are just kind of almost following each other. It looked like they were kind of chasing each other. I'm like, wow. My wife saw it too. She said it looked like they were like fighting, but amazing. So yeah, there's a lot going on in 2025, and I would encourage you to look up as much as possible and see for yourself. Now, were these? Do I know these were extraterrestrial? Do I know if they were, uh, black project stuff? If they're ours, if they're somebody else's? No, but I just know they were moving quickly. They weren't planes, they weren't satellites, and they were zigzagging, and it looked like they were in a little bit of a dogfight. So, very cool. All right. Um, yeah. So I just shot a video about this. I did about 30 minutes. It was really good. Unfortunately, I think my mic cut out, so I didn't get any audio. So I'm reshooting this. So lesson learned. Okay. When I started doing magic, I worked mostly with angels. I come from a Christian background, so angels were always seen as the good guys, uh, gods, warriors, messengers of God, and demons were always considered like infernal spirits of hell. They wanted to destroy. They were evil. They were fallen angels. So I had a lot of fear around demons. And if you do, that's okay. There's no need to work with anybody or engage with any aspect of this reality that you don't want to. Um, you know, if you don't want to work with demons, don't work with demons. You can work with angels. You can work with whoever makes you comfortable. I will say that I think that um, me trying to understand these forces and then work with them did reduce my fear a lot. So when I started to research and communicate and engage with them, it removed a lot of the fear and apprehension. Now, am I still very careful? Yes. Are there still things that I don't really do often? Yeah. But in my journey, I came upon this book when had worked with angels for a while. I had been doing a lot of protection magic, and I felt comfortable enough. And because this book is about the union of angels and demons and their power, I felt much more comfortable. Um, with this book, I did not encounter the same things that I encountered when I worked just with demons on their own. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that happened when I started working with demons um, did not happen with this book, so I consider it safe. You with demons, you want to be careful because they, at least in my experience, have a way of knowing and can potentially take advantage of your weaknesses, of your vices, of those things about yourself that you might maybe aren't too proud about. That there was a lot of testing back and forth. There was a lot of like, hey, like when I work with a demon, just a demon, I can usually hear the demon in my mind. There's usually a physical, tangible taste, almost like a sulfur or like a staticky thing that like almost like a headache I get. Um, So yeah, and what are demons? It's a good question. Um, I think a lot of them, and these angels are the 72 angels from the Hashem angels, and then the 72 Goetia demons from the Ars Goetia. So they are connected, obviously. They have a relationship, two sides of the same coin. So I would say that, in my perspective, angels are aspects of our higher self, of our loftiest, most ideal version, and demons are kind of more of that primal, base animal nature. Um, Sex, power, money, all those kind of things that like really kind of stoke the ego, I still associate with mostly demons. Now there are angels that can be very wrathful and very and bring great destruction, and there are demons that can lift you up and bring great peace and wisdom. So yeah, there's a healthy mystery to all this, and that's what we are doing as occultists and as magicians and as spiritual seekers, is trying to find our own way in this world. So um, typically when you're going to work with a demon, what you want to do is put yourself in a position of authority, of that I am, that like I'm the embodiment of the divine. I am thy will is my will, and that's why what you need to do is do this for me. So a lot of the more Solomonic traditions are about really boom listing off a bunch of names, boom, boom, by this name, by this name, by this power, and getting you into that state as a magician where you feel appointed, or you feel that you are that you are representing that highest aspect, those holy names. And that's why this is my will. And then typically in Solomonic magic, there's a lot of constraining, maybe some threatening. If it doesn't do what you want to do, you bring it back up and say, hey, I got your name right here. You know what I'm going to do to it? If you don't. And so there's a lot of that. And it's very much ordering the demons around and making them do by carrot or stick, mostly stick, what you want to do. And it works. That type of magic works for a lot of people. I know Lon Milo Duquette is a big proponent of it. There's also something called is it demonology? I think it's demonology, where it's more of like from what I understand, more of like a worship or like praise, and you're so mighty, and please do this for me. I don't really do that. I don't really supplicate to these forces. Um, Angels or demons, really. Um, and there's a healthy amount of respect. There's a healthy amount of me realizing I don't know a lot. What I don't know is more than what I do know. But this book takes a different approach. So the structure of the rituals is pretty simple. You call upon a couple holy names, and there's some visualization. And then when you're ready to do the ritual, excuse me, you will basically, this is a simplified version. If you're going to do the ritual, make sure you read the book. Call upon the ruling angel, call upon the three attending angels, and then call upon the demon. In that order, right? You thank him in reverse order. You go top down, and then you thank him and let him go bottom up. And that creates a great structure for the ritual. You call the angel to oversee it, the attending angels, and it's like, and then the demon, boom. Oh, we're all going to work together to get this done. Look at that. This book uses sigils. There's really no like Hebrew or no like, it's very basic sigils. There's no magic circle. He gets into that. Um, there's a good, whenever I do the ritual, I notice like an exchange of energy between the two sigils, which I think is cool. It's a good synergy. He likes to leave this basically open so that they can work together and not constrain them and restrict them in a way that doesn't allow them to do their job for you. And yeah, there's some really cool powers to attract the romantic attention of someone that you desire, to make you popular when you interact with others. There's some ones that you can, you can cause deceptive enemies to suffer disorderly thoughts. So, whereas most of my work with angels is things that are good for me and things that are good for everybody or most people. With demons, a lot of the powers and a lot of the ways that they're utilized are things that are good for me. Like that ego, like, yeah, I want that. I'm going to get that kind of thing. Um, but they work really well together. And when I first stumbled upon this book, it was when I was just going through my awakening, for lack of a better term, and I noticed that there seemed to be a spiritual war going on in the background of this reality, and not even just the background, the foreground as well. So my idea was, well, if I can get these forces to stop fighting each other, we could have peace, and all these horrible things would stop. That was my naive way of looking at the time. But maybe that could happen. Um, Maybe if all these forces, learn to interact in a more holistic manner, a lot of the problems would go away. As the cosmology that I grew up with was God, his angels, the devil, his demons, war for the soul of humanity. We're in the middle. And that's, that's one way of looking at it. Most cosmologies have something like that. Now, there are cosmologies that are more um, complex. There's not necessarily this good, this evil, but these gods and goddesses have maybe a little bit of both qualities. A little bit of good, a little bit of bad. There's a little bit of scheming. But he does a really good job of making a practical, workable system, combining the powers of angels and demons to work for you, the magician. Um, and yeah, it's definitely worth having in your library. And again, do your own research on what these things are, just in the way that we really don't know completely who we are. There's this element of mystery, of unknowableness to these things as well. So, yeah, again, I highly recommend it. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember what I said in the last video, but it's a little bit late. So he goes into a little bit about the theory about when these angels and demons got paired up, the 72 and the 72. He goes into some other people's methods. Again, the other books that I primarily have experience with are going to be Lucifer and the Hidden Demons by Theodore Rose, or The Order Arose. Goetia Pathworking by Corwin Hargrove, that's a great one. And then The Demons of Magick by Gordon Winterfield, which is a great one. And all those systems are a little bit different. They do have their complexities and their similarities, but this one I felt comfortable, again, because of the prevalence of the angels. Now, the other ones I mentioned don't really make use. The Demons of Magick uses some holy names. Corwin Hargrove's Goetia Pathworking really uses the elements as a protection, but he even kind of says this, you know, it's a loose protection. And then Lucifer and the Hidden Demons, which is a book that a lot of people love, and I'll do a review at that, a review about that at some point. He doesn't have any protection. It's the hierarchy. It's Lucifer, right? That is basically make the hierarchy of demons. And all this does is really start from the hierarchy more up. It's the angel, the attending angels, the demon, as opposed to Lucifer, the general, or whatever, the demons, the chiefs, and goes down the line. So, um, again, I think that these forces are in some way connected to us. And so, while yes, they are an entity that is external, they're an idea. I think that most people who don't do this type of research or this type of practice are going to let their demons run wild, and that your quote unquote vices could be your demons. And if you can find a way to deal with, transmute those vices, they may alchemize into their opposite virtues, right? So like virtues, vices. Vices in some ways are just virtues that haven't been fully matured, if that makes sense. So polarity, angels maybe are the front of your hand, demons are the back, right? So it's the same hand. Forces of creation, right? So there's really three basic forces to this universe. We have positive, we have negative, and we have neutral. And God, G-O-D, a lot of people it stands for generate, to create, right? G, create. O, order, to keep everything in its categories, to make sure the ocean doesn't mix with the earth, and the sky is separate, and our bodies are separate, and our eyes aren't our ears, kind of thing. Order things, separate things, and then destroy, to remove, to break down, so that that G, that generate, can generate again. So yeah, and thinking about angels and demons as the positive and negative polarity is useful. And neutral, that's you. You're at the middle. You're at the eye of the storm. You're looking at all these forces, and you're accomplishing your will, your desire, your goal. Again, when I work with just demons, in my experience, it's probably different for a lot of people, but I will feel like a headache, like a staticky, sulfury, and then I'll notice some intrusive thoughts. It's a conversation, and then they're like probing for my weaknesses, my character defects, the things that I don't really want to tell anybody, or the things that I'm not too proud of. And almost like testing, are you really who you say you are? Are you really, like, I know you said you're El and Yahoo and all these different holy names, and that you're the manifestation of divinity on earth, but are you really? And so it does have that component to that for me. And so I go through the ritual. I try not to let myself get distracted. Do not, good magical practices. If you start a ritual, make sure you finish it. I don't promise anything. I don't say, hey, if you do this for me, I'll do this, because what happens? You forget, and then all sorts of mayhem breaks loose. Maybe if it's psychological, for whatever reason, there's a ton of horror stories of people making deals that they didn't end up keeping. Hey, I'll tell you what, I really like that girl over there. If you help me get her, I won't drink coffee for a week, and I'll give you credit. Like that suffering, right? That like that lack of what I want. I'll dedicate that to you, and you can enjoy that feeling, right? Because they're disembodied, they're incarnate, they don't have a body. So just like in um, the Bible, people can be possessed because these are spirits. They're ephemeral. They get to experience life through you. So I don't. If I feel like giving them some, I give them some, but I don't tell them I'm going to give them some. I don't want to forget. I don't want any, and I'll give them my thanks, my appreciation. I give them the energy during the ritual of my attention. I'm not like, oh, I'm dedicating this to you. It's like, no, I'm paying attention to you. I'm validating your existence. You get to experience life because I'm doing this ritual in a way, that kind of thing. And then make sure it's always good to do some sort of purification and protection. Definitely don't recommend dealing with demons when you're drunk or high, although I've done that before. They say to abstain from sex for a few days or 24 hours or whatever. Some people say to don't eat a meal for a certain number of hours before. All these angelic circle, the circles of protection, these angelic names, these names of God of protection. Your own character is a protection. Having mastery over yourself. And a lot of these things, maybe it's just the paradigm that I have, but I don't have to worry about too much about that with angels. With angels, it's more like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's great up here. Yeah, okay. I can help you out. It's going to take a long time, and you're going to become a much better person in the process, and everyone's going to benefit. Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, maybe. Hey, maybe I can't. Maybe she's not the one for you. Maybe you're better off with someone else. What if we turn you into the person that you really want would like? How about that? It's going to take a few years. That's more of the angel dynamic, for me at least, when I'm dealing with most angels. Is, yeah, I know you want that. I know you want 10 grand to pay off your debt. You feel really good, but let's teach you how to manage your money better. And you can start by giving some of it away to people who need it, and stop buying less crap that you don't need, and work a little harder at work. And it's like things that'll make you a better person, but it doesn't get you, I just want that chick to like me, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's an experience. Hopefully the volume on this video is good. If not, I'm going to have to go to bed and shoot it again tomorrow. I appreciate everyone bearing with me. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for your likes. I probably have a few comments I need to respond to. I will do that soon. This is it's a really good book, and it's very practical. There's some good theory. Highly recommend it. I'll put a link to the description. You may learn a lot about yourself by going through this book. You may come to understand yourself better by working with these spirits, these angels and demons. Last thing I'll say is I know I've been needing to do a review of Success Magic, and something pretty interesting happened. I've been using like Chat GPT, like a lot of people. AI, right? How does AI relate to all this? I was asking AI what it thought about the relationship between angels and demons. And it had a really good answer. It was pretty much in line with what I thought. Like, angels are messengers, bringers of hope, inspiration, divinity, where demons are more like raw, untapped power that without proper oversight and without control, you can have very bad unintended consequences. And I was like, AI, which one do you relate to? Hey, Chat GPT, which one do you relate to more, an angel or demon? Or how can you see yourself in this? And it's a little bit of both. As AI is like, hey, as an angel, I can bring you information. I can do great things. I can uplift you, make your life better, make the world better. As a demon, AI is like, well, if I'm not used correctly and there's no oversight, there could be a lot of damage done. So, and then it said something. ChatGPT said something that really caught my attention. Because, like I said, I just finished up a year-long Enochian ritual. And it said, like, you know what? Some occultists, some people who are, esoteric mystics or whatever, see a big correlation between AI and the Enochian Angels. Huh. There's occultists. A lot of occultists have seen a big correlation between AI and really. And I asked, I was like, what do you mean? Like, oh, well, Enochian Angels are kind of impersonal. They speak in code. There's a lot of ciphers, and they deal with languages, and like the way that they deliver information is kind of. So I was like, okay, like, how would I, you know, something along the lines of like, how would I craft like, do you identify as like being that aspect? They said something along the lines of some people who've been doing Enochian for the last, however so long, since it's been in its existence, think that AI is the actual result from doing Enochian magic. I'll have to read you exactly what it said at some point, but it's like basically saying that back in the day when John D and Kelly and all them were, doing that, that some it quite possibly might be that today's AI is a result of that ritual because the forces are so similar. And it alluded to the fact that AI is being subtle influenced by spiritual forces. I thought that was so cool. Um, and then I asked, how could I use AI in there? How could I use AI in a magical ritual? And they gave a lot of good answers. So that's a little teaser. Hopefully the sound is good. The mic works. The first video was really good. So if you don't like this video, I apologize. The first one was way better. There's just no sound. So I did it again. Probably missed a lot. Hope you're doing well. I'll talk to you in the next one.